Hey my friends, I hope you're doing well. Just a quick video on this Ken Ham. Okay, for those of you who don't know, Ken Ham is the founder of a creation ministry called Answers in Genesis, or AIG for short. Now, what's ironic is, in this video that I'm actually showing his fake Earths that he used, saying we don't believe all this evidence from space, yet he's showing fake pictures of Earth, trying to pass them off, or he doesn't know that they're fake, because you would think, especially one with the Earth in the background and the moon in the foreground, it looks like, wow, the astronauts must have taken this picture. So anyway. Oh yeah, and so a quick reminder, all the videos I've done exposing these fake Earths, from the ballers who come and tell us, you guys don't believe pictures of the Earth from space. And every one of them they show is Earths with copy and pasted clouds, right? Fake pictures. So why would they be using fake pictures of the Earth? In this day and age of digital cameras and everything, we could have tons of pictures. I'll tell you why. Because it's fake. That's why. There is no ball Earth from space to take a picture of. Supposedly we've been in space for 70 years. And so there's satellites all over the place. Snap a picture of the Earth. Shoot a video. Why does it have to be all this, nonsense about we got to take many pictures and we got to layer them and all the different light spectrums need to be added together and we have to take the data and la 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 la. It's nonsense. Snap a picture. Just show us. Shoot a video of the Earth. They can't do it. We can shoot pictures of the moon from Earth. That's 250,000 miles away. I know they say this is 1,000,000 miles away where they shot this picture of Earth, but we shoot pictures of the moon. Clear as day. We can zoom in. They're shooting through space, through the void. They still only have to go through the one atmosphere of the Earth. Come on. Because they're not up there. They're not in space. There is no space. You can't get a full shot of the Earth. That's why. Put up a real picture. You don't understand, p-brane. The Earth is very shy. You can't just take a picture of it. It's always putting its hand in its face, p-brane. All right, let's go on. That's what this video I'm going to show. But first, I just wanted to say the irony that he has a creation ministry called Answers in Genesis. And I have to remind him to look in Genesis, Ken. Don't take the counsel of men. Look in Genesis, which would mean that you look into the Bible. You look into Genesis and other places in the Bible for your answers. Yet, in this video that I'm featuring, he relies on the testimony of 3 supposed Christian, supposed astronauts. Because they said from space, they look back and the Earth is round, he says with this condescending tone, like, you dummies, it's round. I'll leave a link for his video in the description. Okay, so he should change his answers in Genesis to answers from astronauts, AFA. How about that, Ken? Or answers in the philosophies of men. Because you're not relying on Genesis, because the answers you seek are in Genesis about the creation, about the firmament, right? So, anyway. I just thought that was ironic. So, like I said, this video, though, I'm going to show his fake Earths. All right. He took on Flat Earth. He put this video out, I think it was May 30th, 2025, just a few days ago. And he basically is saying that we are dumb. We don't believe other Christians. He's talking to Christians who believe the Earth is flat. And the video is called The Flat Earth Movement is Growing Rapidly. Are they right about this? Ken Ham from Answers in Genesis. But to call yourself Answers in Genesis, well, let's see what Genesis says. Let's go right to the beginning. Genesis chapter 1, verse 1 in the King James Bible. And by the way, for those of you who don't know, if you ever do pick up a Bible, make sure you read a King James Bible. We can go into that, and I want to go into that. I have another channel. I haven't put any videos on it yet, but I might. You'll see. Without a doubt, it's King James Bible. So here it is. So, for instance, like in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. That's Genesis 1:1. Okay, so the heaven is the firmament, and you'll see this in a second. As we skip down to verse 6, and God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. There we go. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. So God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. And God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament, and divided it from the waters which were under the firmament, from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so." And now we're at verse 8. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. So the heaven, why is it important that he created the heaven right here on day 2? Well, on day 1, it was just light, right? He just divided the light from the darkness. Nothing about the sun, moon, or stars, just light itself. Okay? In day 3, and God said, "Let the waters under heaven be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear." And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And God saw that it was good. And God said, "Let the earth bring forth grass, herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth." And it was so. Okay, I'm not going to go any further in this right now. It's an interesting read. This is our creation account. It's awesome. So the reason he built the firmament, and the firmament is a glass-like structure, as it says in Job. It's strong, like molten looking glass. That's what he refers to. He spreads out the sky like a tent to dwell in. These are things describing the firmament. So in order to grow grass and trees and all this, you need air. And we have 14.7 psi gas pressure, right? Air pressure at sea level. So in order to create gas pressure or air pressure, and you need that to survive and to grow things on this earth, he had to create an enclosure, a container, right? It's called the firmament. This is how we have gas pressure. See, this nonsense that we are an open system next to a vacuum is nonsense. It's not possible. It defies all the laws of gas, right? Or high pressure always goes to low. So our air pressure would be gone. So God, knowing that, doesn't go against laws of physics. He enclosed this place, the earth, in a dome of a glass-like structure, put the sun, moon, and stars in that dome somehow. I don't know how that works. But this is how he created the air pressure and the gas pressure. He doesn't say it here, but we know that, and this makes perfect sense. That's why he made the firmament on day 2. Before he made the trees and the grass and had the dirt sprout and what have you and start to grow. So very important. So Ken, I keep wanting to say Kent, Ken, your organization that you founded is called Answers in Genesis. So why are you doing answers in man and what man says? You know, there's a scripture that says, "Let God be true and every man a liar." What are you doing? You know, someone go call him out. The answers are in Genesis, not in 3 goofballs that you say are astronauts and they went here and there. You don't believe God's word? You know, in Joshua 10, 12 and 13, it's the sun is commanded to stop. Joshua says, he says, "Sun, stand still." That's a quote from Joshua. Then the narrator says, "And the sun stood still." And the sun stood still. Anything else, you're making stuff up. But don't call yourselves answers in Genesis. Say answers in man's wisdom. Answers in the philosophies of men would be more like it. Okay, let's go on. to what this video is about, exposing all the fake footage he used to try to defend the ball and put down flat Earth. Here we go. Okay, so anyway, of course, I look around, and as I'm looking around, I see this picture here with the Earth in the background and the moon in the foreground. Now, you would think this is real, right? This, why would you fake this? You have footage like this. Is this fake? So, of course, I zoom in, take a closer look at the Earth, and sure enough, there's some copy and pasted clouds. Now, let me tell you about copy and pasted clouds. Remember, with a copy and paste cloud, you can flip the image, you can stretch the image, you can fade the image, make it a little transparent. But here you can clearly see, and notice this is like a ribbon. I remember hearing years ago that the shots that they do take of the Earth, pictures from airplanes or what have you, high altitude airplanes, they shoot in ribbons, and then they put this composite together, and they make the Earth out of that, or they make a larger looking thing, but because they can only see so much sky in their photography, so they take ribbons. So I always see clouds in strips next to each other. They forget to move them, or they just decided, oh, I'll just copy and paste this over. Whatever happens, I always find the copy and pasted clouds. Okay, and then there's this other picture of the Earth that he has, and they're in ribbons like this. So here's a cluster, a group, and they're next to each other. Now, like I was saying, just because you have an image doesn't mean you can't alter it a little bit. And so they stretch it, they may, and usually what they do is they'll take a group of, or a cluster, and they'll copy and paste it over another group of clouds. So now you've just changed that cloud. All of a sudden you say, oh, those aren't the same. Well, yeah, but you can see the underlying, for instance, in these right here, you can see that the underlying clouds, the original, is there. You can see it's the same clouds, copy and pasted, right? And here's another one. Now, like I said, they may copy it over an existing set of clouds that they already had, and so, trying to hide or whatever their mischief. So, yeah. Anyway, this is fake, Kent. And you telling me, oh, that your astronaut friends were Christian. They're Christian, these guys. Yeah, and they told you this and that. Well, hey, I'll tell you something, Kent. I used to send letters to Santa. Not really, but I knew kids that did. At the North Pole. Therefore, Kent, and I'm a Christian, you ought to believe me, Kent, that Santa is real. Anyway, so I'll put a link to the description of this video, and so you can go check it out. I didn't want to post any of his stuff, but except for these pictures, and show you, Kent, this is just another one in a long list of fakery. Now, I should put a playlist together, because I have probably 6 or 7 of, all the ball earthers have done this, from Bob the Science Guy. And I have a video of him, who's that other guy? Senseless, Common Sense guy. Oh, something sense. Anyway, he put a fake image. These are ball earthers. You would think they would have the real images of the Earth, at least. Show us the real. No, they show you fake. Why? Because it's fake. Plain and simple. So, Ken Ham joining the long list of fakers. Anyway, may go over in his video here and visit him and tell him, hey, Ken, there's a video up pointing out all your fakery. Your fake images in your video. All right, I had to redo this because I just, my microphone stopped working for a second. Well, for most of the clip I just recorded. So here I am doing it again. I might have left some stuff out because I'm pretty aggravated right now with that, but anyway, I hope all is well, and we will talk to you soon. I'm working on another video with Bob the Science Guy and Cricky, old CriticalThink, and that'll be a good one. All right, talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.